So I don't know if I've said already, but I'm going to attempt to lace and true my own wheels on this one. I've never done it before, but it's becoming a bit of a faff trying to find someone to do me them. And I've watched a few videos and I think it's something I could pick up. So, and it'd be a good bit of a good skill to learn, to be honest, if I'm going to carry on building more and more bikes in the future. So yeah, got some stainless spokes for it, nipples. And I got this wheel stand, which was only like 40 quid actually, which I thought was pretty good, just for truing the wheel. So yeah, tomorrow I'm just going to attempt to lace it up. I think that the main part is lacing it correctly from what I've seen, and just knowing the pattern to do. So yeah, we'll attempt that in the morning tomorrow and see if we can't build our own wheels. Yeah, the bearings are just completely seized on. This side hasn't moved an inch. I've been whacking the life out of it, and this side I've got near to the end, but it won't go anymore. I've been hammering it to death. So I'm going to bang a load of penetrating spray in there. Well, I'm going to heat it right up first and then bang a bit of spray and see if I can't just get it softened up a bit just to get it out, because yeah, absolute nightmare. They're so seized. The front one was fine, they came straight out, no problem. Which obviously probably easier on the front one with it being smaller like that, but yeah, the rear ones, yeah, really badly seized, so definitely needed to replace them. So I got them rear ones out, and I don't know if you can see on that spacer, it's just covered in sticky horrible mud, and it's all throughout there, and it was coming off this side bearing as well. So yeah, that's obviously why it's seized. It's like compacted with horrible mud. Yeah, so that's the hub. I've sort of cleaned it in and out now. Still quite a bit of rust around that rim, which I might try and get rid of around the edge of where the bearing will sit. But yeah, there was just so much dirt, like it was like sticky mud that had been built up over years and was just sat in there. So but yeah, that's both hubs now, bearings removed from, cleaned out, ready to put the new ones in when they arrive. Right, so we're going to attempt to rebuild the wheels. Like I say, I've never really done anything like that before. Yeah, I've replaced the bearings in wheels before, but I've never laced them from the ground up and built them. I was going to get someone else to do it, but time, money, and I thought I think I could do it myself. So I got myself a little wheel stand for truing, and I've got some stainless spokes and nipples. I'm just going to quickly dab a little bit of grease on the threads of these spokes before I put them in. I've seen a lot of people use anti-seize, which pretty much the same in my mind. So yeah, I'll just run a little bit of grease on the end of them so they don't seize, and yeah, just start lacing them up. I've watched a few videos on how people do it, and I think there's sort of a general pattern that people use, which is every four holes is where the spokes go. So yeah, my aim is to just go around, lace all these up, tighten up the nipples, and then get it on the stand and start truing it up a bit. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. It might go completely wrong, who knows, but I think it's something I could figure out. So yeah, we'll attempt it and see how it goes. So I laced both wheels up this morning, which went quite simple, to be honest. It was easier than I thought it'd be. But I was about to go and true them, and I realised I don't have the new bearings in the wheels, and my spindle that sits through them for the balancing stand obviously needs the bearings in. So I'm going to put them to one side until I get the new bearings arrive, and we'll fit the new bearings, then I can start truing them. But yeah, all laced up. They look awesome actually. They look really good now they're painted. So quite happy with that. I've got 2 new tyres coming as well for them. Just some mid-soft tyres that I got hold of on a bit of a deal. So yeah, hopefully soon I'll have them all built up fully back on the bike. And then lastly, the other issue we had today. Now that I've put all the casings and covers back on, I thought, right, well, I'm going to finally shove the nice compact that I've built. I'm going to put that on. Well, we went to push it in and realised that the manifold for the hole on the manifold is too small for this. And we've measured it against the one that was on there, and it's 3 or 4 mil bigger, which I don't know whether the person who's made me this pipe has just made it slightly wrong. Because from what I've read online, they're basically just the bolt-on, bolt-off part between the RMX and the RM. It's meant to just fit straight in. So, yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do about that, to be honest. I'm either going to have to send it back and have this cut off and a new one, a skinnier one, put on. Or a friend of my dad's might be able to do it for me instead. But, yeah, a bit annoying, really, because I wanted to shove that on. It's been sat in that box for like a month now, and it's just been nice to put it on, but yeah. So I got hold of some marine JB weld. So I've just done a little epoxy seal on that crack that was on that water pump casing. So I was gonna fill everything back up really. I've got some new coolant that I was gonna bang in, but obviously I'm gonna let that set for a bit. But while I'm on, I've got some Motul Transoil transmission also. I'm just going to fill the bike back up with some oil and yeah, get it ready to start it once again. Once we've got that, once we've got the exhaust sorted and put on the bike, I might fire it back up just to make sure it all sounds fine and there's no leaks coming from anywhere. So. Right, so wheel bearings have finally shown up, and I need them in to be able to true the wheel, because I bought this wheel stand for balancing it, but it needs the bearings in for the spindle to press up against so it can stay balanced. So new bearings front and back. I'm just going to put a little bit of heat into the hub just so they'll go in a little bit easier, but I've also got a bearing press kit, which is perfect for this really. So I've just put the right size bearing press in there, and I'll just give that a little tap in, just to help it on its way, make it a bit easier. I've seen a lot of people go, they freeze the bearings, they heat up this really like massively, but I think just a little knock, tapping it in will do the job. So yeah, I'll heat that up right now, put that bearing in, spacer in, and then put the other bearing in on the other side, and then I might just start truing this wheel because I'd like to get one done at least tonight. So yeah, a little bit of heat into it and tap them bearings in. Right, we're back in business. It's been about 3 weeks since I last touched the bike. Last weekend I was away in Edinburgh. We went up to watch Zach Bryan play up there, which was class. And then the previous few weekends I've been doing a camper van job for Johnny White at K Suspension. So yeah, not done anything, not touched the bike, not had time, so I've been flat out with doing that. Got that finished off last weekend, and we did a bit of a deal. I built him basically his works van. I turned it around for him into a bit of a camper, and we got some trick suspension for it, which I've fitted currently. I've already fitted the shock just before. Annoyingly, I had to take out the airbox. I couldn't get the original shock out, which I'm 90% sure when I took it out previously I didn't have to do that. But it was a bit of a faff, so I just ripped the airbox off and I'll put that back on now. But yeah, all in shock. Had the forks all done, new springs, so they're working really well now. So yeah, the plan is to get all that thrown back on, and I've got a free weekend now. Yeah, this weekend's completely free, so I'm going to tackle the wheels and get them finished off. I've been faffing around with them for too long now. Get them thrown together, new tyres on, and put everything back on the bike basically. Put the suspension back in, the wheels back on, and if I've got time I'll put the brakes back together. And then all that I have left to do then is put the exhaust on, which I've had to get the old end of the exhaust cut off and welded back onto the new one, because I told the people that made me the pipe to make me an RM pipe because I didn't think they were any different, but the hole is smaller on the RMX head, which this has got that in still, which I didn't think it did when I ordered it. I didn't check, but that was my fault. But yeah, so I've got that being welded, and then once that's on, we should, fingers crossed, by next weekend possibly be able to go and ride this and give it a test, because we're now at the end of June and I've still not ridden it, and I've not ridden enough, and I'd like to spend all of July just going practicing and trying to get a little bit fit, to be honest. So yeah, going out, giving it a spin, making sure it's all working as it should, or if it isn't, having time to fix it, is what I want to do. So yeah, next weekend is the plan, to go and fire it up, maybe go down to Preston Docks and just give it a run out for a couple of laps, just to see if everything's as it should be. Fingers crossed it is, and then I can just spend all of July practicing and getting ready for Hawkstone. But yeah, so tonight I'm down in now. I'm just going to throw the airbox back in. I might chuck the forks in, and then, like I say, finish off the wheels this weekend, because yeah, I started that one 3 weeks ago and I just never finished it. So yeah, need to finish them off, and then yeah. Right, so forks are back in, shocks fully tightened and mounted up, the airbox back on. Bit of a nightmare, I can't get the part of the airbox that goes onto the carb. It just won't sit. I think it's missing a couple of tabs to hold it, and I can't do it one-handed and get round to tighten the Jubilee clip up, so I might have to get my dad to come and shove that on as I tighten it to hold it on, because that's going to be a nightmare. Yeah, I've just put the back wheel back in just to balance the bike a little bit. I need to finish that off, but I'm going to, first thing tomorrow, get down, true the front wheel fully up and put that back on the bike. Well, put the tyre on, put that back into the bike, and then that should just leave me the rear wheel to finish off and put the chain on. And then other than that, like I say, touch wood, the brakes need to be bled and put back on, but all that's left after that is the exhaust. So yeah, hopefully a good weekend spent on it and it's pretty much there. So yeah, fingers crossed can get them both wheels finished off tomorrow, and then yeah, we'll be looking good to go ride it next week. Right, so I've just finished the front wheel off. Spent the last hour just tightening every spoke to the same, and then just going around and trying to balance it. I'm pretty much there, but I noticed there is like a low spot. You can sort of see where it's skipping just a little bit down and to the left, but I've noticed that's exactly where there's quite a big dint. So I'm not 100% sure whether I could get that out. I've done a little bit of looking online to see if it's something that can be sorted, and I don't think it is, so I think I'm just gonna go around. Yeah, so where that low spot is, and if you can see it on here, you can see it just catching, but that is where there's a massive dint in the, well, not a massive dint, but a fairly decent dint in the rim. With it being an old rim, I don't think I'm going to get this perfect. Everything's centraled perfectly, everything measures up perfectly, so yeah, there's not much else I can do. I don't think I'm going to be able to get that little up and down bobble out with it having that big dint in it. So I think I'm just going to leave it at that, go around, just torque every spoke, make sure it's all tight, everything's fine, and I think I'll just go with it at that. It's not perfect, but it's also not a million miles away, and there's no real side to side wobble. It's just that little up and down when that dint comes around. So yeah, like I said, I don't think I'm going to be able to fix that with it having a fairly decent dint in the rim. So I'm fairly happy with that. I think the rear wheel, I'm going to have to get it a bit more perfect, but as the front one, I think that'll be fine. So yeah, I'm going to just finish that off now, and then put that to one side and start building it, put a tyre on it and mount it back onto the bike. Right, so I've just laced up these wheels yet again. Felt really annoying having to do that again, but you can tell already just from looking at it, looks more central to the hub, which it was way off to the sprocket side. The sprocket side was sticking way further out, sorry, when I originally did it. And to be honest, I did think something looked wrong about it, but I just wasn't using my brain at all, because I completely ignored it and just carried on. But yeah, that looks a lot happier now, pretty much central. So I'm just going to measure that now, make sure it's what, well, I think I've read online it had to be 45mm from this flat surface to the edge of the rim. Yeah, so if I can measure that and it's somewhere near or bang on, then I'll tighten these nipples up. I think I'll leave like 2 or 3 threads on every single one, and then it'll just make it easier to evenly balance it out. Like I said, I started balancing it on my stand, and it was getting a bit of up and down. There's a few dents, because these aren't brand new rims, they're quite old. I don't think it's ever going to be perfect. The front one I got near perfect, but it still had a little bit of wobble up and down, but it had a really big dent in the rim, so I'm just putting it down to that. So yeah, a bit annoying I've had to do that, but it does look instantly a lot happier and a lot more central. So clearly I must have, because I laced them up the first time without even thinking about the pattern of having the slight bend on the spokes, but I could have had half of them on the correct side in the first time because I just didn't think about it. But clearly I didn't have them all on because that's come up near central straight away. So yeah, so I'll quickly just lay that down, measure it, make sure I've got the right gap, and then I'll just tighten them nipples up just to hold it in that position. Right, so I managed to finish the wheels. The front ones were alright, I just need to finish truing them. I've laced them correct and everything. The rear one was completely throwing me off because well, for one, I had the offset wrong. That was the main issue. But then I went to relace them and it was really throwing me off that there was still some thread showing and the whole wheel was completely tight, but there was still a little bit of thread showing on the nipples. But after speaking to the guy who I bought the spokes off and trying it every different pattern to see if it would give me some more slack, I think that's just how it is, and he said it's pretty normal, and the distributor who sold the spokes to him says that that's the only way to do them. So yeah, they're all trued up, offset's perfect. So yeah, I'm gonna call it with them. I did have a little bit of bobbing up and down, but they're quite dinted, these rims, so I don't think, I tried my best to get it like, I think I've got like 1 mil of bobbing up and down. The side to side movement's non-existent anymore, but yeah, there's just a little bit of hop up and down on both wheels, but like I say, there's dints in them, they're a bit bent. I don't think I'm going to get any better than that, so yeah, we're going to go with that. So I'm going to put some rim tape and rim locks on both of them, and then I might have a go and just mount the tyres today and finish them off. I've got a new gear shifter, quite a cheap one, because that was the only one I could find that was proper for the RMX, and it does fit. I was a bit weary that it wouldn't fit because I bought one a month or two ago for an RM250 without thinking about them having a difference, and yeah, it was nowhere near. So I bent my original one to try and make it work, because the original one must have been off an RM250 because it was taking a gouge out of the cover. But that one, yeah, a bit cheap looking, but that's the only one I could find that would work, so that does the job. Other than that, what else? Yeah, so I'm going to put the exhaust on. Luckily, my dad's friend did me a huge favour, and because I ordered this as an RM250 pipe without thinking about it not being for an RM250, I didn't realise that the manifold hole would be smaller, because I just didn't even think about it. And yeah, so when I went to line it up, it wouldn't go in. So I've had to get the old end cut off, the old exhaust, and re-welded onto this one. And he's done a really good job of it. So yeah, cheers for that, Bob. He's done a mega job of just making it match the rest of the pipe as well, because we were a bit worried cutting it and putting the old one on would just ruin the look a bit. But yeah, that looks really good. So shoved the exhaust on today as well, finally. Right, so that's the cone pipe all mounted up. I did buy 2 new exhaust springs for it, but that side's perfect, but the underside, I might need a longer spring. I think just where the tab is to hook them onto, I think it's just a bit far for it, it's being stretched, so might buy a new spring. This mount here, I think I'm gonna have to find a plate to attach that to, because the original pipe didn't have that. It didn't have that mounting tab, it just did away with it. And the silencer was way longer. For some reason I thought the pipe would come, the silencer would come with new rubber grommets, but it doesn't, so I'm gonna have to source some of them. Other than that, yeah, it's gone on just perfect. Like I say, my dad's friend Bob really helped me out with that, and he cut it and welded it for me, and it fits perfect, so he's done a really good job of that. But yeah, I think the pipe looks really nice now it's on the bike. Yeah, so one part that I was really struggling to find for the bike, when we were taking the forks out, my dad grabbed hold of the old fork guard and it snapped clean off. It was all knackered, old and brittle. But I then found out that them things are like gold dust and you can't find them anywhere. From every group that I've been in on Facebook looking at them, everyone says the same thing. You can't buy them. You can maybe get a second-hand pair off someone or buy a different set of forks, but you can't buy them. But I did find one company that made 3D printed versions of them for the 89, but they were like 70 quid. But I bought them, went to fit them, and realised that the bottom mounting holes weren't like that. They were a completely different shape. So I cut them and tried to make them fit, and then I messaged the company and said, look, these aren't fitting, are you sure they're for an 89? And then I looked on eBay and there was some UFO ones, these, selling for a 91 set of forks, or the RM125, that were the exact shape that mine is. So either, well, I think it's pretty likely that I don't have 89 forks in this bike, because they do not mount up at all at the bottom here. And these are 91 fork guards, and the upper fork guard covers, these are 20 quid UFO ones, so real proper plastic as well. So yeah, a bit annoyed that I spent 70 quid on some that weren't even right, but it is what it is. These were only 20 quid and they've gone on exactly perfect, so everything's lined up perfectly. So I'd say I've got 91 forks in this bike, simply because these line up perfectly and the other ones didn't. So yeah, in a way it's worked out better, because these top mounts that were originally on are all discoloured and horrible as well, so I've got nice fresh ones on now to match everything else. But yeah, a little bit annoying I wasted some money there, but they have worked perfectly, the 91s.